Good morning, boys and girls. Today I thought I would show you how to use the digital version of our distance learning packet. If you go into your Google Classroom, you can go over here to classwork. Then you can click on week 7-8 distance learning packet. And this one with the yellow boxes, this is the digital version. If you click on that version, you can see we have all these text boxes so you can write on them. What you need to do first is go up here to File, and you need to make a copy. You're going to make a copy of the entire presentation. At the beginning of it, I'm going to take off Copy Of, and I'm going to put my initials. So for me, it's going to be RA Distance Learning Packet. That way, if you want to submit it to your teacher digitally, they will know whose packet that is. Then I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now I have the packet ready to go. Now this is kind of small, so what you can do is you can go up here to View, and you can zoom this in. So I'm going to zoom in. I could even zoom in more. I don't need to see the whole page at the same time, so I might even do 200%. Now I have it nice and big where I can type on it. Then you simply click on the yellow box, double click inside of it, and I can type. If I need more room, then what I will do is I will go up, and where this little number 14 is, I can change that font size, and I can go down to 9 so that it's smaller and I have more room. Okay, so I'm not going to show you how to fill out your reading page, but we are going to go ahead and go to our ReadWorks reading packet. For this one, we are going to zoom out a little because it's a little too much. Today, what we're going to do is read through the entire article together. Then we'll go back and we'll mark up the text. Tomorrow, we will start answering questions. So let's go ahead and read this for the first time together. Happy Trails by ReadWorks. And I see a picture here, and it looks like it's set in the woods or the forest. The morning she left for Camp Kanawha, Maria awoke with a lump in her throat and an ache in her stomach. She had gone on plenty of sleepovers. She'd even spent a whole weekend at Aunt Jolie and Uncle Ed's. So why was she so nervous? No breakfast today, she thought, imagining the ache turning into nausea and a horrible road trip after a full meal. Then the smell of French toast wafted upstairs. As usual, Maria's stomach grumbled as soon as the French toast-scented air hit her nostrils. On the other hand, maybe a good breakfast is exactly what I need. She gave her arms and legs a good stretch and ambled downstairs. "There's my big camper," her mom said, squeezing Maria's shoulders with one arm the way she did when she wanted to give a hug, but was in too much of a rush for a full embrace. She walked briskly to the stove, placed 2 pieces of French toast on a plate, and tapped a canister above them, powdered sugar snowing down. "Just like you like it, super fluffy, slightly crispy, and lightly dusted," said Maria, already in position, armed with knife, fork, napkin, and full glass of milk. Maria poured a puddle of maple syrup beside the toast and topped each piece with a little mountain of whipped cream. "Get started while it's hot. Your father's coming down in a minute. I told him to shave. Don't want the grizzly beard, to send your new bunkmates running for the woods." Okay, Maria's dad said with a sneaky smile. "Clean as a whistle, just like you ordered." "Just like I ordered?" "The mustache stays. Admit it, you love it." Maria's mom shrugged. "I think it's hip," Maria said, dipping a bite in some syrup. Well, your old man is hip, her dad said, moving his head the way he did when he wanted to look like a cool surfer dude, but looked more like an Egyptian robot. In fact, I was the most popular kid at my camp. For the record, it was science camp, Maria's mother reminded her, and his rise to fame was thanks to what was known as the Great Explosion. Accident or genius? The world may never know, Maria and her dad said in unison, using their deepest, most mysterious voices. They slowly broke out of character and into laughter. In all seriousness, Maria, popularity is not important, her mother said, looking her straight in the eyes. Finding the people who like you for you, that's what matters. Your mom speaks the truth, sugar, said Maria's dad, wiping his thick mustache with a napkin. Just be yourself. You'll have a blast. Just be yourself. Just be yourself, Maria repeated the words like a mantra as she sat with her new cabin mates in a circle on the grass. Cool bracelet, said the skinny, freckled redheaded sitting next to her. Thanks. I made it in an embroidery class I took this winter. Whoa, that's impressive. Can you teach me how? If you teach me how to do a braid just like the one in your hair, I've mastered the art of French toast eating, but definitely not French braiding. A loud whistle hushed the girls' laughter and buzzing all around them. They looked up to see a beautiful older girl blowing into an acorn top between her thumbs. Her skin was tan and eyes were dark brown like Maria's. Hello! I'm Audrey, one of your 2 cabin counselors. And I'm Gina, your other cabin counselor, said the pale girl with curly brown hair and eyes that were icy blue in color, yet warm. And you ladies are the dragonflies. Audrey lifted her arms in the air as she announced it. Each cabin here at Camp Kanawha is named after a different insect. The cockroach boys, aged 12 and 13 like you, think they've got the best mascot. I beg to differ. Dragonfly girls are as tough as dragons and graceful as, well, dragonflies. That sounded better when we rehearsed it, Gina said lightheartedly. The ache in Maria's stomach had officially turned into butterflies, the excited kind. Remember that when we are doing any sort of reading, we are always reading more than one time, and we are always marking up the text. Remember to number each paragraph, double star important facts, circle key words or details you want to remember, put an X over things you don't understand, put a question mark over things you find confusing or have questions about, underline unfamiliar words, put an exclamation mark over things you find interesting, and draw an arrow next to parts you made connections to. To mark up your text, I recommend using a text box in your keyboard. It's really the easiest. So you can simply draw a small text box and then put a number 1 in it. You will need to do a text box each time, and this part can be a little time consuming. If it lands where you don't want it, just move it up to where you would like it. Once you have this little cross mark, that's when you can move. If you want your numbers to be in a different color, then you're going to go over here to where you see the A and it's underlined, and you can change the color and put whatever color that you would like to put there. Okay, if you want to add an arrow, you're going to go up to where it says insert, and you're going to add a shape, and it says arrow, and you're going to click on the arrow, and then you're going to put the arrow wherever you want to put it. If you want to add a circle, you're going to add a shape, click on the circle, and you can circle wherever you want it to go. But see how it turns gray like that? You want to go to the bucket where it says fill color, and you want to click transparent so you can see around inside of the circle. If you click the circle and you go to where the pen is, you can change the color of your circle. You can make your circle bigger or you can make your circle smaller. If you want to put an X, you're just going to use a text box and put the letter X. Same thing with question mark, same thing with exclamation mark. If you want to underline something, you're going to click Insert and Line, and you're just going to do the regular line. And then wherever you want to put a line, you click and hold your mouse, drag it to how long you want it, let go, and there is your line. Remember, if you want your line to be a different color, click on it, click the pen, choose the color that you want, and that's how you make a line. If you want to double star something, you will again do that just in a text box. You are going to pause the video here to mark up the text. After you've done that, go ahead and push play and we'll go over it together. Okay, boys and girls, so hopefully you have marked up your text. Let me make this a little smaller so you can see it. So I've numbered all my paragraphs, and if you scroll all the way down, you'll see that I had 30 paragraphs. That seems like a lot. But what I want to show you is that every time the speaker changes, so every time a new person is speaking, it's a new paragraph. So right here on paragraph 9, it's Maria's dad talking. On paragraph 10, it's her mom talking. On the paragraph 11, it's her dad. And then it talks about what her mom's reaction to that is. And then it's Maria talking. So every time you change who's talking, it's a new paragraph. So that's why it seems like there's kind of a lot of paragraphs. I made a few connections. So right here I drew an arrow making a connection because it said, "No breakfast today," she thought, imagining the ache turning into nausea and a horrible road trip after a full meal. So nausea means when you feel like you're going to throw up. And we know that in paragraph 1, it said, so why was she so nervous? So she's really nervous and she has this ache in her stomach. And sometimes when we're nervous and we have an ache in our stomach, it makes us not want to eat or afraid to eat. So I know that sometimes when I've been nervous about something or anxious about something, I haven't wanted to eat anything. And then in paragraph 19, I drew a connection because she said, just be yourself, just be yourself. Maria repeated the words like a mantra as she sat with her new cabin mates in a circle on the grass. So sometimes we repeat things that are encouraging to ourselves. A mantra is when you just repeat a phrase over and over, and it's usually like some kind of truth. So just be yourself, just be yourself. I've done that before. Anything positive or anything that you're just wanting to focus on and repeat to yourself. There were a few words that I thought you might not know. Paragraph 3 said, she gave her arms and legs a good stretch and ambled downstairs. So if you didn't know what ambled downstairs means, you do know that what do you have to do to get downstairs? You have to walk, right? So ambled is a way to walk. When you amble downstairs, you are just going at like a slow, easy pace down the stairs. Ambled is like a slow, easy walk. Another word, a full embrace. Well, if we use the context clues of the sentence, it said, squeezing Maria's shoulders with one arm, the way she did when she wanted to give a hug, but was in too much of a rush for a full embrace. So I think a full embrace is a hug, a full hug when both arms are wrapped around the other person. The next sentence says, she walked briskly to the stove. I know that when I have this ending ly, it means in that way. So how did she walk? She walked in a brisk way. She walked briskly. And I think that briskly means quickly because in the sentence before it said, but was in too much of a rush. So she's hurrying. So that is my clue that briskly means that she's doing it quickly. Then in paragraph 14, it says, well, your old man is hip. Hip, and then it says, moving his head the way he did when he wanted to look like a cool surfer dude. So I think hip is a synonym for saying cool. Up here in paragraph 8, it said bunkmates. Don't want the grizzly bear, I mean grizzly beard, to send your new bunkmates running for the woods. You're going to have to take context clues, and this is kind of a think and search. I know that she's going to a camp, and at a camp, she's spending the night, because in this first page, it said, the morning she left for Camp Kanawa, Maria awoke with a lump in her throat and an ache in her stomach. She had gone to plenty of sleepovers. She even spent a whole weekend at Aunt Jolie and Uncle Ed's. So that means at camp, she's going to be sleeping over there. And if you've ever seen pictures of camp, they often sleep in bunk beds. So if it says bunk mates, I can take these two words apart. Bunk would mean the bunk bed, and mates are like friends. You know, like when we say in the classroom, classmates, right? There are friends in class or just other students in class. So bunk mates are going to be other kids that are going to bunk with her or sleep with her in the same room. They're all sleeping in the same cabin, so they are bunk mates. On the last page, I see the word embroidery. The page before at the bottom in paragraph 20, it said, cool bracelet, said the skinny freckle redheaded sitting next to her. And then it talks about, thanks, I made it in an embroidery class. So some kind of class where she learned how to make a bracelet. In this case, embroidery is where you make designs with silk or cotton, gold, silver, fabric, leather, maybe one of those string bracelets you guys make with the designs and they have like stripes or arrows or something like that. So she took some kind of class, embroidery class, where she learned how to make a bracelet and make a design in it. And then in paragraph 25, it talks about a camp counselor. So you know that you have a counselor like Mr. Godoy at school, and he helps you if you have any problems or gives advice, or he's someone who you can talk to if you need help. So a camp, in this case, it's a cabin counselor. When you have a counselor at camp, it's usually an older kid, like somebody in high school or maybe even a young adult, somebody in college. And they are the people who supervise all the kids in the cabins or during their activities. And they are also the person that if you have a problem too, you can go and talk to and get help from them. And then in paragraph 29, it talks about lightheartedly. Lightheartedly just means she's goofing around or playing around. And we know that because she said, that sounded better when we rehearsed it, Gina said lightheartedly. So she's like being goofy, like it sounded good, but maybe now it sounds a little silly. Anyways, hopefully this was helpful. That's all we're going to do today for day 1. Remember that Monday was a holiday, so we only have 4 days of reading and math to do this week. This will be the last week that we are doing videos. Tomorrow, before we start, you're going to want to read through this whole article again, so you will be ready to answer some questions. Bye for now.